Titan emerged out of the chaos. As it grew, so too did the might of the Olympians.
For starters, I'll state this. Those who still believe the PC is the nirvana of computerized graphics on Earth are asked to cry their eyes out in their fists.
We will stand together and wipe out this plague.
Good, we've gone past the moment where we demonstrate the supremacy of the PS3 console. Now it's time to move on to the second affirmation. Nathan Drake, it's time you go to bed. A new game just stole your title for best graphics. And God, did it steal all the pep out of all of us. The God of War series makes its pass with shy baby steps towards the diodes and integrated circuitry, the Blu-ray reader and the beastly processor of the PS3. Not that we weren't expecting that, it was normal that the PlayStation would move the guys from Santa Monica to push out the last part of the God of War trilogy, especially because it's one of the most successful series to run exclusively on the PlayStation console. But they've already done this in a big way. I think most of you are already familiar with Kratos, the Spartan that dethroned the God of War in the first game and tried the same thing with Olympus in the second game. If you know next to nothing about the game, run up to Wikipedia and throw an eye through. Seriously, Wikipedia now, I'm not kidding. Are you done? Okay. Are we on the same page now? Let's continue with the review. The game starts exactly where the second game left off. You, Kratos on the back of a Titan, take Olympus by force. Only our beloved Spartan Kratos is a klutz and a half. He falls off the Titan and ends up back in Tartarus. Obviously he will lose all his powers again. Obviously he will have to combat all the Croco monstrosities only to come out of Tartarus fresh and dry for the second time. I think our Kratos has a get out of the fiery depths free card. He's visited them a few times so far since the start of the series. Anyway, the game is set around a barely believable story. Kratos is pissed off with his dad, aka Zeus, who didn't get him out of the kindergarten when he was small and never told him bedtime stories, so he sets off to dethrone him. That's half of the Oedipus complex right there, and he keeps trying this ever since the second game. Kratos escapes hell again and sets off to Olympus to punish his old man. All this time he accumulates experience, new weapons and the title of the most egocentrical game character ever created. In the first game, Kratos was a sort of a good boy, trying to save humanity from the threat of Ares, becoming a god himself after killing Ares. But in the second game, Kratos is extremely ticked at Zeus. Why? Because he had gone a little wild, using the Spartans to destroy entire cities. Overall, a somewhat weird motive for our hero, right? I'll stop here with the story, since it's not worth ruining the pleasure of those who haven't experimented the game yet. I will, however, give you two precious hints. Wait until the end of the game and use the head of Helios as much as possible.
The day you killed Ares was the day my world was torn from me.
Now I'm getting to the gameplay. You know, that element that either sweetens my soul and I end up loading the AI, or I get into a rage against the monkeys that programmed the game. In the case of God of War 3, I'm not gonna let out a peep, in the sense that it hasn't really surprised me with anything new. Sure, the game has always been a button masher, but the way it does, it is unique. In essence, the gameplay could well represent the best template to follow for other producers, reason why EA have tried to copy it in their own Dante's Inferno. Practically all the gameplay revolves around a pretty simple formula: slash, 2-3 strikes left, smash, bam 2 strikes right, dodge twice, slash a few more times, quick time event and lots of blood in the end. That's just about the formula that God of War used to push itself into the market. However, the game is without reproach. It does what is set out to do extremely well. Even more, Kratos is one of the easiest characters to control this year. The simplistic control approach makes the game very pleasant. I find it hard to believe that I can't attack the in-game camera. In the second game, this killed me early. In the third game, it did nothing to bother me in any way. Even more, it often helps the player, him not having to control the camera while slashing some centaur or Medusa. Even the beating arsenal has received an upgrade when it comes to physics. Most of Kratos' weapons function, in my humble opinion, are in accordance to some laws similar to those of physics. We'll move on to the graphics and sound. I'll let the pictures do the talking for a little while. I don't think I can express the beauty of this game in any other way. This is enough to shut up even the most skeptical PC player who might still have thought that a more expensive video card would give better results than your run-of-the-mill console. Sure, if we talk about toasters, things might be credible. God of War 3 has what is probably the best rendered graphics of this year. The game did not give me the feeling of a rush job at all, something that pleases me. And to the surprise of many, I applaud Santa Monica for this. I'll move on to sound. The music is the same, in the sense that the stifling atmosphere of a level is enhanced by the well-chosen music, the score giving credit to the game. But I'll say a little less about this and more about what disappointed me most, Kratos, or more exactly the voice actor who gave him his voice, T.C. Carson. Kratos in the first two games had the voice of a Spartan. In God of War 3 I have the impression that he might pull out a Desert Eagle at any time and start shooting like a madman through the level. What weapons, what puzzles, quests. Kratos is now ghetto in all the meaning of the word. If you don't believe me, here's your proof.
The god of the underworld is dead. Olympians overestimate themselves. Your child is not my concern.
But surely you can understand. You were once a father, too.
Conclusion, or the moment we award the rating for the game. Overall, I liked just about everything in God of War 3. I'm eternally dissatisfied when it comes to games, but I must admit that in this case, it deserves it, which I award with great pleasure and not much debate. God of War 3 gets a 9.9 out of 10. That 0.1 was subtracted for the in-the-hood voice that Kratos shares with us along the game. For the love of God, or Zeus in this case, the game is staged in ancient times, not in 2010's Bronx.
I will tolerate your insolence no more!
I will have my revenge!